Welcome to Cincy Local Music, and welcome to what is officially our second Sing Me Your Story. Now I say officially, the first one was about 2 years ago, so we hope to get the frequency a little closer together than 2 years apart, but we all know how life happens and things get put on hold, and we're back. And today we've got Sherman with us, so we thank him for coming out to visit. I'm going to let him introduce himself with a little bit of his background, whatever he feels comfortable to share, would like people to know. And then we'll get a little bit more into the Sing Me Your Story part.
Okay. All right. Sherman Hartley. I'm from the Coleraine Township area. Was born and raised there. Graduated from Northwest High School and then started in the Army Reserves in around 87 and did a bunch of different things and then eventually went on active duty and got into flight school and became an Apache longbow pilot for about 12 years and spent time in Iraq, Afghanistan, was in at Fort Campbell in Kentucky, various other places in the United States, and then spent 4 years in Germany. So I've been around over a 21 and a half year career. So it's, I did the full amount of time. I had planned on staying in for 30. I really loved my job. I mean, who doesn't like flying helicopters, right? And it's just one of those things. Always wanted to do it. Never believed really I could, other than just to go for it and see what happens. And then finally, eventually, it happened. So I actually skirted under the wire as far as age cutoff went. So 29 was the oldest you could be. I got in, I was 28 when I went actually off to flight school. I was worried about my vision at the time, but I was lucky. I still had 2015 at that time, and now I wear glasses and pretend I don't see very well, which I don't see as well as I used to, but I still can't complain. Most people are like, what do you say your vision is? 2060, they're like, oh, couldn't get out of here. And so, no, but I did get injured in Afghanistan, so I had 2 lumbar discs crushed, and it was more not one single event, it was just over time. I toured in Iraq for a year and was back, and then we went to Afghanistan, the next year later. And the long story long is brownout landings in helicopters and like in a desert or even whiteouts in the snow. You really have to put it down harder and faster than you would on like a runway or a helipad or somewhere that's hardened or grass, where you're not kicking up all that dust or all that snow to blind you. So we would just have to like pick a spot, get it down, put it down, take all the power out, and like all that pressure and all that weight over time, it caught up to lots of us. I'm not a unique situation. The only thing unique about me is I was one of the few whose surgeries didn't work out in the end. So, but there plenty of friends of mine had to have back surgeries after these deployments, and mine just didn't work out. So I ended up with permanent paralysis in my right leg from the knee down, and spent a lot in and out of hospitals, physical therapy, wheelchair, and so that took me to the end of that career, and then the next part of life started. So we came back to live in Fairfield, Ohio now. It's close enough to where both my wife and my family started out, so we had some help when we got back.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think it's only appropriate. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
thank you.
And it's the stories the rest of us can't tell. I've got back problems, but I have no heroic story to tell about them. A toaster scared me one day, and that was it. I don't think people realize what goes in when you thank somebody for their service, but also the sacrifice that's gone into it, both physically and mentally and all that. So I commend you. We are here allowed to do what we do today because of people like you that have dedicated their lives to basically taking care of the rest of us. So I thank you for your service. Cincy Local Music, I also thank you for your music.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But as humans on this earth, most of all, I thank you for being our friend.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
That is
Really.
this world is all about people,
Yeah.
and we keep the good people as close as we can to us.
Yeah.
And I think everybody needs to know that they're appreciated and that they're supported and that they're loved.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get some special people that we want to let them know firsthand, specifically. So thank you so much for being you today.
I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
So, well, I think everybody tuned in. Okay, nobody tuned in. Nobody remembers from 2 years ago what we're doing here. So the gist of Sing Me Your Story is we want to give local musicians an opportunity to tell a story about one of their favorite songs, one of their songs that means the most to them. Just a little bit of background of how that song came to be. And I don't know what your song is today. Hopefully you've picked one out.
Yeah.
If not, we'll stall.
No. I thought it would be one of 3 different songs, and it doesn't matter which. We can decide after I tell you a little bit about each one if you want for a second.
Sure.
I want to hear it.
So the first song I ever wrote, well, one of the only reasons I am even doing music now is my son was taking drum lessons, and I was sitting there waiting on him to finish drum lessons, and his instructor came out, and there were all the guitars on the wall, and this is a time when I was still kind of pretty bad off, and without going completely into all the opioid addiction, I was prescribed pain medicine for my back injury, and it just, this was a time period when, it was considered, well, it's not harmful, it's, and so I got caught up in all that, and in the kind of pain condition I had, the doctors, I'm not giving anyone a pass, but I'm also not throwing anybody under the bus. It's just didn't really know what to do. Like, the pain was there, but the problem with opiates is 1 is good, 2 is better.
Yep.
You get used to 2, 4 has to go.
And
it just gets more and more and more, and your body builds a tolerance. It changes your neuro pathways and all that stuff, and that's what happened. So, I spent a good 8+ years, more or less in a wheelchair on opiates, and so part of that was part of the end of that was being in that studio with my son and his instructor, and I said I was 46 at the time. I'd never taken guitar lessons, never sang, and I tried some church choir back when, like way back as a kid and stuff like that. Nothing serious. I always loved music, but never thought about doing it. And he's like, yeah, I can teach anybody to play guitar. So I got started with a guy in Rye Stevenson in Fairfield, and he's played for some fairly big name people around, especially around Cincinnati. He's mostly a drummer, but he can play just about anything. And so I took lessons with him for about, 12 to 18 months of just taking lessons, trying to learn some covers. And I don't know, one day I just was thumbing through some of my journals that I had from when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm like, well, you sound like a crazy person, and maybe some of these things will be worth telling. So I wrote some stuff out, and I took it into the studio, and I said, how about, and don't get me wrong, I love Tom Petty, I love all these other covers I do. I'm like, well, maybe we can make something out of this. And so that was the beginning of that songwriting journey. He's like, really? He's like, I've really never had anybody just come in and throw down a song on the table. And I mean, it's by no means they completed anything. It was just a bunch of, me vomiting on the page. Like, does that sound like a song to you? And so he just, no, but he took it from there, and we started working together and introduced me to some more people, students of his. And we just started playing together, started learning how to jam a little bit, but we started working on the words that I wrote are the ones that became the songs, some of the first songs that I have. And so one of them is called Sable Skies Broken, and that one's more of just like my story from kind of start to finish in combat to getting injured. And then I wrote another song shortly after that about mostly it's about 2 uncles of mine who were in Vietnam, and they both made it back, but drugs and alcohol just destroyed their lives. And so I wrote a song called 40 Years Too Tattered, and they were both already gone, by the time I wrote this song. But it was really thanking the Vietnam veterans at the VA for when I got back. I was injured. They didn't say, thanks for your service. They said, as fellow service people, they were like, welcome home. And so that like really struck me. And I've got nothing against, thanks for your service. I love it. I appreciate it. It's, anytime anyone thanks you for something, it's just, you should be grateful that someone's thanking you. So it is, it's great. But when, I don't know, those guys, and it chokes me up every time I talk about it, because, not just the guys at the VA, but, the uncles who didn't really thrive in the rest of their lives, because they were just out of high school when they went. And then anyway, so there's that. And so I wrote that song thanking all the Vietnam era veterans for kind of paving the way and not letting us get lost, like mental health issues, drug addiction issues. Get help. Don't be ashamed of it. It's not, it's not worth living the next 30 years of your life in absolute misery, waiting to die. And I saw that in a lot of eyes, and so that's what that song is about. And then a little further down the road, I was working with this other organization called Creative Vets, and my son was a senior in high school, and he, getting ready to graduate, and so working on this song with this guy, and he lives and works in Nashville, and a lot of people donate their time, to working with vets, and so that was one of those situations where we just sat down and collaborated over Zoom. And he's like, he's like, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, I already have my story out there, because that's kind of what they were wanting to help me write. And I'm like, so I sent that to him. I sent him recordings of the 2 songs I just said. And he's like, oh, well, you kind of don't need to do that. And he's like, well, what do you want to write about? And I'm like, I don't know, my son's getting ready to graduate high school. I'm kind of thinking, what should I tell this kid, I mean, you try, you do what you can to raise him up and get him ready to go. And we came up with a song called Turn It Into Something. And that's probably my favorite song, because it's, a lot of the other ones are a little more melancholy, and, because it's heavy. They're heavy topics. But the one for my son, it's serious, but it also has a little playful in it. And, so I don't know, that's probably the one I would put out, like today, if you wanted to. I mean, I'll sing anything. I never turned down an opportunity to sing. I can't tell you how many times I've showed up to a place, not even bring my guitar in, and I don't know, somebody doesn't show up, or somebody sings a song about something that relates to me, and then I just happen to be there. And then most recently, a couple of weeks ago, that happened, and the guy emceeing turns around and he goes, well, I guess you're singing next. And I'm like, I didn't bring a guitar. And he's like, well, I have a guitar. I'm like, okay. But I don't know. Just, why not? That's just, why not do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway. So now I guess, so it sounds like I've made my decision, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Decision. So now I want to hear it.
Third song.
Yeah. So.
Now I get to say it.
Go ahead.
I've been waiting 2 years to say this again.
Okay.
Sing me your story.
All right, here it is. Let me make sure. Well, we'll see. I pre-tuned, but hopefully it stayed that way. So.
There are no rules here, and
okay.
I won't say there's nothing wrong, but there's nothing right either going on. Is we're all winging this every day of our lives.
Yeah. Yep. True. So you know how music. Guitars are wooden. They shrink and expand. So let me give it a little. Yeah, see? Okay, so I just played Tune It for everyone.
Nice.
I think that's pretty familiar. So I don't know. So I usually have a microphone in front of me too, but I don't know how. So I'll try to get over the chords and not. So. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll just do it. So it is called "Turn It Into Something." So. You've always had a hard time hearing things from me, and the way I see the world ain't quite the way you see. Yes, I know how it feels to have something to prove. You've got dreams of your own that you want to chase. Take that shot while you're young. Ain't no time to waste, but own your own mistakes. Don't be afraid to lose. Son, you gotta stay strong and always hold on. Even when you don't want to, you got to learn to carry on. Yes, it's gonna hurt, might take a lot of work. You gotta find that fire deep inside when you face down the dirt. Boy, you can have everything and nothing. Gotta take what you get, boy. Turn it into something. Turn it into something. Had to grow up fast, and I'm proud of how you've done, living with a wounded dad. So much to overcome, but you'll be well prepared when the hard times come along. Son, you gotta stay strong and always hold on. Even when you don't want to, you got to learn to carry on. Yes, it's gonna hurt, might take a lot of work. Gotta find that fire deep inside when you face down the dirt. Boy, you can have everything or nothing. Gotta take what you get, turn it into something. Turn it into something, yeah. And when you've had a son, you're gonna understand. You'll give him the same advice that came from your old man. Son, you gotta stay strong and always hold on. Even when you don't want to, you got to learn to carry on. Yes, it's gonna hurt, might take a lot of work. You gotta find that fire deep inside when you face down the dirt. Boy, you can have everything or nothing. Gotta take what you get, turn it into something. Turn it into something. Turn it into something. Turn it into something.
Very nice.
You notice when I start laughing the most is when I start screwing up.
I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell.
That's what people tell me, so I'm just like, just play through
Just
it.
keep playing through
Just
it.
keep playing through
That was
it.
good.
No, it's
really
like,
good.
like, well, missed that chord, missed that chord.
Made me
But
think
just-
of my own son, though, like stuff you want to tell your kid.
Yeah. So that's like my, hey man, if I had the last thing I could say to you,
Yep.
just you got what you got. You got to do something with it. So
Yep.
make the best of it and have fun and be as successful as you can.
Yep. I love
Absolutely.
it.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day we get another chance.
Yeah.
If you didn't like today, we'll do it again tomorrow and we'll do it better.
Yeah. So I agree. And he's 21 now, so
All right.
he's finally making his way.
So he's figuring it
He's
out.
figuring it out.
Yeah.
Figuring it out and
Yeah.
figuring out how to make the important decisions, and
Yeah.
some of them better than others, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
it's like
Decisions.
Right.
none of us make them perfect. I don't care how old we get.
Yeah. Like
We do the best we can and
yeah.
turn it into something.
That's right.
Aw.
So
I see what you did there.
That's what I
yeah,
did there.
that was good.
That's what I do.
Oh.
Anything else you want to say to the...
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed the opportunity to
Well, thank
Get to
you
know
for
you
coming
better,
over
and yeah, sing my song for.
Absolutely. We love to get the stories behind them.
And
We got 3 stories behind them this time.
Yeah.
I
So,
know, that's
So-
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
so we may have to
So-
do a reprisal at some point, and we'll get the other 2 songs.
Yeah.
I know, because I'm curious.
On there. I bet
Yeah.
you do them now, but I'm gonna hold it to coming back, and we'll do another
no,
one
that's
of these.
good. Yeah, I just thought I'd mention them because that's what got me to now is those
Yeah.
two. That's where it started. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, because there's a story of the songs, and then there's a story of the people,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the story of the musician.
Yeah.
As they've gone from being a non-music person to
Yeah.
a music person, and then I've come up with this song, and this is what that means to me. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of stories and levels that go along with that. So thank you for sharing
Yeah.
all of that
You're welcome.
with us. It's fantastic.
Well, thanks again for having me.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It was
I
fun.
thank you very much.
And thanks for the pizza.
Don't tell anybody else. We're not feeding anybody
Just
else.
It's becoming a tradition, I think.
Yeah, I think so. All right.
All right.
I think we'll call that a wrap.
Call it a wrap.
So thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah.
And cut.
And cut.